As you may or may not know, my wife and I just got back from Vegas. It was a great trip. We ate, we drank, we had a blast. But then we got home and looked at the credit card, and I gotta say, it doesn't matter how much fun you're having, $25 for a drink is a ripoff. Frickin' Vegas. I hate getting ripped off, and so do the lads over at Harry's. They spent years watching the razor blade companies rip people off and said, no more. Not all heroes wear capes, my friends, and they want to prove that they're legit by offering you hot dogs a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/RTG. I've been telling you about them for months, and I'm genuinely proud to have Harry's as a sponsor of this show. I wasn't kidding. The plastic, futuristic-looking crap razors you get at the store are overpriced and they're poor quality. Harry's blades are crisp, clean, and classy. They're the kind of razor you'd expect your grandpa to have on his bathroom counter. And most importantly, they work. Shave after shave, they're so smooth, they're precise. I used to go through the crappy store blades all the time, but Harry's are built to last. And they're not just better quality than the other names, they're more affordable. And they deliver. Just set your schedule, and for as little as $2, new blades, shaving creams, lotions, everything you need, right to your door when you need it. I genuinely cannot think of a reason not to try Harry's. And I'm not just saying this because they're sponsors. They're the best shaving supplies I've ever used. Try them out, and if you're not happy, your shave's on them. And unlike the other subscriptions, they're really easy to cancel if you want to too, which is a nice bonus, but believe me, you're not going to want to cancel. Getting ripped off isn't funny. Switch to Harry's. Get started with a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/RTG. That's harrys.com/RTG for a $3 trial set. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and we geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And this week it is episode 159. And after 158 episodes, we are finally going to talk about the Nintendo Wii. I have never hidden the fact that while I am a card-carrying Nintendo fanboy through and through, the Wii has never been my forte. I hate the motion controls, the Wiimote. I just thought there was an overwhelming amount of crap on that console as far as its library goes, and it had that unenviable task of following the GameCube, which to this day I still think is one of Nintendo's best ever works. So I know the role that the Wii has played in gaming history. I know a lot of people like it, some love it, some grew up with it. And while I don't plan to talk about the Nintendo Wii every week, we will start throwing Wii fans the occasional bone with a nunchuck attached. And we're going to start with Wii Sports. This week's focus, one of those games that everybody has played. It's an incredibly important game in my opinion. The Wii would not have blown up like it did without Wii Sports being packaged in. And to its credit, Wii Sports is still fun to play, even today. My buddy Bradley McHugh returns to the show this week. Admittedly, talking about Wii Sports was his idea, and I think we churned out a pretty damned slightly above average podcast. And we're going to get there in just a minute, because speaking of being slightly above average, it's time for yet another edition of the Remember the Game infamous intro. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. Consider this your warning. Our intros have gotten fairly long, but there's lots of video game talk and stuff. They're fun. It's not just the crap. It's a little bit of good mixed in with a little bit of crap. It's mostly good. I shouldn't say that there's any crap. There's a little bit of crap, but it's mostly good. We have merch. Hoodies, t-shirts, coffee mugs, tank tops, all rocking art drawn by my boy Joe over at 4545creative.com. You can find our merchandise at rememberthegamepodcast.com. Our new video game mashup series is over there right now, where we took iconic video game mascots and squashed them together to create some new original works of art that I think are fucking dope. I have some t-shirts on the way right now. When they show up, I'll make sure to post them on the old social media service to show them off. But I seriously, just if you like, even if you're not going to buy one, if you're just a fan of video game art, go to rememberthegamepodcast.com and check them out because they look really fucking cool. We have three. We have Magnus, we have King Dowser, and we have Super Mank. And you can figure out who they are quite quickly by looking at them. I think they all look fucking dope. Joe is a talented motherfucker. And of course, if you don't like clothes, you can always support the show over on Patreon. It's only $2 a month. And you get so much value for that. You get 2 additional podcasts every week, exclusive access to both my gaming news show Game Patch every Friday and my gaming discussion show Expansion Pass every Sunday. And the minute you sign up on Patreon, you get instant access to the entire back catalog, which is well over 100 bonus podcasts just waiting to be downloaded. This past Sunday on Expansion Pass, it was episode 69, and we talked about villains, top 10 villains. To be precise, it was one of our ranking episodes, which usually go over fairly well. I thought this episode was a lot of fun, and as is becoming a tradition here in the intro, this is a sneak peek of last Sunday's episode of Expansion Pass, my top 10 villains of all time. Let's get into my list. My top 10 villains of all time. Coming in at number 10. Dr. fucking Robotnik, not Eggman. I hate that. Now that I've played Sonic Adventure and I've seen the origin of the Eggman handle, I do think it's a little bit funnier, but I hate that that's just stuck. He's Dr. Robotnik. He's not fucking Eggman. John Woodruff wrote into us on Patreon and said, it'll have to be Dr. Robotnik for me, as he was the first villain I'd ever seen in a video game. Yes, he's a fat, useless piece of shit who, from my memory, stole bunnies and kittens, but he's my fat, useless piece of shit, and I wouldn't have him any other way. I gotta be honest, I love the idea of Dr. Robotnik. And if you don't know the backstory, and maybe I'm talking out of my ass, I'm going primarily from the comic books that are fucking... I used to love the Sonic comic books. He was like kidnapping animals and shit and then making them into robots to like serve him. And he was just a bad man. And Sonic tried to stop him. And I just love that fucking mustache, his giant round-shaped body. I love Dr. Robotnik. So that was last Sunday's podcast. And now for this weekend's show, episode 70, we're going to talk Nintendo. Because a few months back, we did an episode where we asked, if you were in charge of PlayStation, what's one thing that you would change while you had all the pull over at PlayStation? And so this Sunday, we're going to do the exact same thing with Nintendo. If you were in charge over there, what's something that you would change? That episode is already recorded. I'm pretty happy with it, so I hope that you all like it. Again, $2 gets you instant access to all those podcasts, plus new ones every week, plus access to our Discord, the chance to vote in our Patreon poll, the ability to submit comments to be read on all of our shows. You can DM with me, and you'll get a shout out here on the podcast. You get to hear me mispronounce your name like I'm about to do to these people. A huge thank you to all of our newest Patreons, Josh Valentini, Paul Rakowski, Steve Carney, and Liam. I'm fairly confident I said Liam right, but I'm not sure about the other 3. But either way, thank you all very much, and welcome to Remember the Game Industries, patreon.com/rememberthegame. And if you guys are hearing this on Wednesday, when does the month end? The month ends on Saturday. Maybe wait until Sunday to sign up, because if you sign up on like the 29th, you're going to get charged on the 29th, and then you get charged again on August 1st. You get charged the first of the month after whatever day you sign up. So signing up on like the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and that first week of the month is the best value, because you get an entire month to decide if this is something you want to do. And based on our retention rate, most people have decided, you know what, even if the podcast sucked, this guy sounds like he needs $2. And you're right, so they've hung around. So thank you very, very much. I have a P.O. box. You can find the address at rememberthegamepodcast.com. Just shoot me a postcard or a letter, something little, and I'll send you one back, and we'll be best friends. That's how it works. And you can find me on Twitch. I stream very irregularly at this point. It's kind of just whenever I can get on there, but it's completely free. Just go to look for Member the Game over at Twitch. Not Remember. Look for Member the Game. Hit me with a follow. It'll tell you whenever I'm online. You can come by, argue with me. It's lots of fun. And that's enough blowing myself. We'll blow some of you now with Blowing in the Cartridge, our opening segment here on the show. I read a few comments and questions from our Patreons, usually gaming related, but not always. And we call this segment Blowing in the Cartridge.
He blows all right. He blows big time.
That's it, honey. Get into the spirit.
Let's blow. Our first blower this week is Astro Alpica. who wrote in on Patreon and said, "Hey Adam, what video game franchise do you think would benefit from an RPG makeover? I was thinking Star Fox could be transformed into a strategic RPG like Fire Emblem, where they can fight either in their ships or on foot. I hope you are well, and thanks for all of the hard work." Well, thank you, Astro, and thank you for the hard work. My first thought when I read your question was Mario, purely because I want Super Mario RPG 2. And so if I have to put Mario into the RPG world, just if that's what it takes to get Mario RPG 2, then motherfuck it. That is what we are going to do. I've also always said that I think a Ninja Turtles RPG would be a lot of fun. For a long time, I thought it'd be fun to do like a turn-based RPG with the Ninja Turtles. But like, admittedly, a couple of you have written in with the idea that like maybe the Turtles would work better in like a Batman Arkham style game or Spider-Man. And I'm kind of in agreement. So I'm kind of getting away from the Turtles RPG. I'll be honest with you, Astro. I thought about this for quite a while, and I think Star Fox is a really good idea. I think a Star Fox tactical strategy game, I'd prefer to see it just in the ships, but you could just recruit different members to your team and upgrade their ships back at the base between missions, and I'd be all over that. That sounds like such a great fucking idea. I don't know who we need to send that to, because the problem is that you can't send that suggestion to Nintendo because Nintendo doesn't remember that they own Star Fox. But you can't send it to anybody else because they can't use Star Fox because Nintendo owns it. They just forget. It's a chicken and egg thing. But I agree with you. I think Star Fox would fucking make a great RPG. And outside of Mario and the Ninja Turtles, that's probably the franchise that I would go with as well. That's a fucking really good call. Mr. Satan wrote in and said, "Hello from YYC," which is Calgary, if you don't know. Have you ever ordered a special edition of a game, or was there one that you really want or that you didn't order but wanted to? You know what? I'm not trying to poo-poo on you collectors out there because you buy whatever the fuck makes you happy, but I'm trying to think. I don't really buy special editions of games because I don't have room for all the trinkets and stuff. I'm trying to think. I bought a special-ish edition. I think it was a special edition of Doom 3 where it came. No, maybe it was Halo 2. No, it was Halo 2. And it came in like a metal case. And that was, or maybe it was Doom 3. I don't remember. Someone listening to this knows. I bought, like, honestly, I know it sounds like a lame example, but that's the only one I could think of is I bought one that came in like a metal case. I don't buy especially because I've been mostly digital since the later half of the Xbox 360 PS3 era. So I don't buy the special editions, period, because I usually just download my games. But yeah, I know it's kind of lame, but no, I don't really think I have. South Park, when they released the Fractured Butthole, they released I love that name. They released a package compilation where I think you could get like a Coon action figure riding his big wheel. And I somewhat considered that just because I'm a huge South Park fan. I'm a big fan of the Coon in particular. I love Cartman as the Coon. But yeah, I know it's a lame answer, but I don't really buy a lot of special editions. I'm cheap. I'm cheap, and I just don't buy a lot of like trinkets and stuff. So I can't think of one other than I can't for the life of like. I want to say it was Halo 2, but I can't remember. One of them came in like a metal case, and I bought that. And that's it. I know. I suck. I know. I get it. I suck. But that's all I did. I don't buy the special editions. So, sorry, Mr. Satan, if that was kind of a lame answer. I tried. Cheapness is a sickness, and I have it. Mr. Boyd wrote in and said, "Hey Adam, thanks for banging the Celeste drum so furiously on your various podcasts. The buzz got me interested, and I scooped it when you highlighted a sale a couple months back. I'm late to the party, but that game rules. I just finished it, and it was arguably the best $7 I have ever spent. What a gem! You're goddamn right, Master Boyd. And for all of you that are listening to this, if I'm not mistaken, so I know Celeste is on sale on the Switch right now. I'm fairly sure it's for sale on the other systems. Plus, it's on Game Pass on the Xbox, and it's just if you have even the half-assed passing interest in vintage retro-style platformers, very tough retro-style platformers, or just good games as a whole, Celeste is worth full price, which is $25. If you can get it for $6-7, that is the fucking steal of the century. I'm just going to sit here right now, and I assume if you're listening to this, you're at least casually interested in retro games. Celeste looks like an NES game, but, balls to the wall, beautiful, but that classic 8-bit, pixel art style. And all it is it's one of those platformers that'll kill you over and over and over again. But every time you die, there's no load time. You just instantly spawn at the beginning of the level or wherever your checkpoint was, and you try again. And it tells a great story. It's a beautiful game, awesome soundtrack, and it is just some of the best really difficult, challenging platforming that you'll ever experience in a video game. So I'm glad you enjoyed it, Master Boy, and fuck yeah, shout out to Celeste. That game is the tits. Dave McGee wrote in and said, "Hey Adam, non-video game question here. I've been watching more wrestling as of late, and even though I'm enjoying it, I'm not enjoying it as much as I used to. So my question is, do you find the lack of good storytelling a sign that Vince McMahon has too much control over the writing process? Or are they trying to be too PG, which waters down the product? Also, I don't need blood and people being thrown off cages to find the product good." So the second point first, I agree. I don't have a problem with blood and things being thrown off the cage and stuff like that. But I don't need that either. I don't enjoy death matches at all. It's just, I don't mean any disrespect to wrestlers that wrestle those matches, which if you've never seen, you're throwing in fluorescent light bulbs and fires and cheese graters and fucking just blood and guts and blah, blah, blah. There's obviously a place for that stuff in wrestling, but that's not my first choice either. Do you think, so your question was, are the lack of good storylines a sign that Vince has too much control over the writing process, or are they trying to be too PG? I think the second one is part of the first one. I think Vince is a billionaire who just has a stranglehold on pro wrestling. WWE is such an empire now. Even if AEW ends up passing them, and for those of you that aren't interested in wrestling, we'll be done in like a minute, I promise. Even if AEW ends up passing WWE in ratings soon, like as far as Raw versus Dynamite goes, WWE's not going anywhere. They're just too big of an institution. They're publicly traded. They're worth a fortune. But I do think that Vince has too much control. Vince wants it to be a PG show, which means anything they were doing during the Attitude Era doesn't work. They're not letting wrestlers cut unscripted promos. Every word they say is fucking written out for them, and it's obvious, and it fucking sucks. And I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. Quite frankly, it feels like Vince just doesn't care anymore. That's what it feels like, because a lot of people point to the mid-90s of WWF as like one of the lowest low points for pro wrestling, and I agree with that, but this is 10 times worse. This is just, it's never been nearly as bad as it is right now. And I don't know what they need a breakout star to build the show around, and they don't have one. And it feels like they're afraid to let someone hit that level now, because all their big breakout stars like Austin and The Rock and Cena, I know Cena came back, but they all leave. And it's like Vince is afraid of letting someone get so over and so popular that they'll become bigger than the brand, and then they'll screw them over and leave. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it's awful. I have no interest in watching the WWE product right now. And I love pro wrestling. No interest in watching the WWE product right now. And I don't know what the fucking problem is, Dave. Wrestling goes through highs and lows and peaks and valleys, but they are in a fucking valley. They're under a fucking valley right now. So I think the best case scenario is that AEW or somebody gets white hot, and you're not going to put a scare into WWE at this point, but just kicks them in the ass to fucking try again. Or Vince sells or dies or something and somebody else is in charge. I think that's the only way WWE is going to get fixed at this point. Yeah. So there you go. I'm done wrestling now. I know not all of you are interested in wrestling, but I don't get to talk it on here too often, and I love pro wrestling. NoobQ wrote into us and said, "Hey Adam, have you ever considered reviewing Rampage for the SNES? I just remembered how kick-ass that game was, from the monsters you could fight as to all the destructive animations. I would play a port of that for the Switch so fast." And then he followed up and said, "So there was an NES game, but I'm thinking of Rampage World Tour for the Nintendo 64, I guess. The graphics look like they've aged terribly." So I never played, I know Rampage was an arcade game for a while too, but I only ever played the Nintendo 64 one as well. And that's where you could play as like the big lizard. You could play as the big monkey. I don't remember what the third fucking animal was now. Was it a hawk? Anyway. Have I ever considered reviewing it, is what you asked, Noop. Not entirely. It's not something I'd be opposed to down the road, but like I said, the only one I really played was the 64 one, and I didn't play a ton of it. So I'd need to fire one up and play it for a while. But I mean, if it ends up on one of the Patreon polls and enough people are behind it and want it, yeah, fuck yeah. I have no I'm not anti-Rampage. I'm just not well spoken in the world of Rampage, as a way as it were. Makeshift Money wrote it to us on Patreon and said, "What do you think would be harder to do? A complete collection of the NES catalog, including the Nintendo World Championship, or a complete collection of the PS4 catalog, including all the obscure games released by limited run games?" I mean, the PS4 catalog is like in the thousands, isn't it? Although if you're only talking physical games, and I don't know, I still would say NES, because there's no way. I don't know. I haven't looked. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Yell at me and let me know. No way there's any limited run games out there that are worth a fraction of what Nintendo World Championships is. That game will cost you a fucking car. A brand new car. to get your hands on a fucking Nintendo World Championship cart. So I just, like, to me, and again, maybe I'm wrong, I would guess you could probably get your hands on most of the PS4 collection in exchange for the cost of the 2 World Championship carts if you're going to go with a gray and a gold. So I would say the NES collection would be way harder. Plus, most PS4 games, to at least like find them, you could go to like, GameStop or fucking anywhere, and they've got tons of the games in the discount bins and shit like that. Whereas like every single NES game is going to be a hunt at this point. You know what I mean? Like I can't just go into Walmart and go to the dollar bin and grab a bunch of PS4 games to add them to my collection. So I think my guess, I would say the NES catalog would be way harder. And if I was going to do one, if you told me that you'd foot the bill, but it's on me to find them all, which one would I rather collect? The NES Complete Collection or the PS4 Complete Collection? I think I'd rather have the NES Collection. So but I would say that the NES would be harder. It's what you throw in that World Championship, man, those 2 carts, it's a fucking house down payment for a couple of NES cartridges. Fuck me. Maybe never. No, never. I was going to say maybe someday, but never. That's never going to happen for me. Johnny CCDC wrote in and said, "Hey Adam, the Olympics had me thinking about a little NES gem called World Class Track Meet. Tell me you got a chance to play it. It was the only game I owned that used the infamous Nintendo Power Pad. That pad barely fit into the space I had in my room to use. It was easy to cheat and break the pad with your hands, but gosh poopy, it was insanely fun to play with against friends. Wild to think that from day one, Nintendo was on the whole motion sensor thing, from foot pads to zapper guns to gloves filled with power. Anyways, did you ever play Worldwide Track Meet? And if not, what other Olympic-themed video game did you play that you actually enjoyed?" So I never played it. I do remember that. I remember the fucking big placemat with all the colored dots. It looked like a Twister mat. I never even knew anyone that owned it that I know of. So I've never even seen one in person. I never played it. As far as what other Olympic-themed games have I played that I actually enjoyed? Fuck. I don't know if there is one. Is Super Spike Volleyball for the NES an Olympic-themed game? Because it was volleyball, and that's an Olympic sport. That one was fun. But, I mean, like, I remember there being a hockey game. It was like a winter hockey game on the Nintendo 64. It was just basically Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey with a palette swap. It was awful. Fuck, I hate Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey. I hate that game so much. God, I hate it. I hated that game. I've never played any of the Mario Sonic games, but they don't look interesting to me. I don't think there is one. I know it's 2 questions, like when you ask, like, hey, what special editions have I bought? I was like, none, I'm sorry. And now Johnny, like, hey, what Olympic games have you played that you actually enjoyed? I'm like, none, I'm sorry. But I will, you know what? Just for the sake of giving it a legitimate response, I'm going to say Super Spike Volleyball. Even though I don't know if that's technically an Olympic game, volleyball is an Olympic sport, and Super Spike Volleyball is fun. So that'll be my pick. But other than that, fuck that goddamn hockey game all the way up its ass. God, I hated that fucking game. And finally, one last stop before we move on from blowing in the cartridge. It's letter time. Ham and Egger wrote in and said, "I know it's still early, but since you already have both consoles, which one would you keep if you had to give one up? Your PS5 or your Xbox Series X?" Dum, dum, dum. So, I mean, I was going to say this is a famous question, but it's not a famous question, but it is kind of the question, right? Now that we're creeping up on the 1 year of these new consoles, like creeping up on it. That's fucking wild. If you were to say, hey, after playing with both, like I've had both of them for at least 6 months. I have my Xbox a little longer, but I've had both for at least 6 months. You're like, which one would you get rid of if you had to get rid of one? And I know a lot of you are probably thinking the obvious answer is he's going to keep the Xbox because the Xbox has Game Pass, and you all know what a raging hard-on I have for Game Pass. And you're not wrong. And if I had to pick one right now because of that, it probably would be my Xbox, just because of the backwards compatibility and Game Pass. It's just got so much more to play on it than the PlayStation 5 does. Having said that, I have not played a next-gen exclusive game on my Xbox yet, whereas I have played Returnal and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart on my PlayStation 5, and Returnal is the best game that I've played in at least a year. Like, since Final Fantasy VII Remake and Ghost of Tsushima last year. Best game I've played since then. I adore that fucking game. So, it's 2 different questions. If you said, if I had to give one up moving forward, I would give up my PlayStation 5. And I would keep my Xbox Series X because of Game Pass. But which one have I preferred owning over the last 6-7 months? I think I've preferred my PlayStation. As much as I like my Xbox Series X, Xbox has bought up all these studios. We don't have the next-gen games yet. And I know they're coming, and they'll be out before the end of the year. Some of them are starting to drop in the next few months. Then moving forward, I'm all about my Xbox. But for the time over the last year, I would probably give the nod to my PlayStation 5. I love the controller. The PS Plus collection that you get on the PS5 when you buy one, if you have a PS Plus membership, that gives you 20 of the best PS4 games ever included with your membership, is a great fucking deal. I think the 20 games on the PS Plus collection stack up against the 20 best games on Game Pass. Like, just to put it that way, it's just Game Pass has so much more after it. So, yeah, if you made me pick one and that's the only one I could keep, it'll be my Xbox. But I have had more fun, I think. More next-gen fun, more next-gen experiences with my PlayStation so far. Quickly on that note, before we get moving, I know I say this quite regularly, but like, I love both these systems. I'm happy that I bought both of them. I don't feel like either one was a waste of money. If you haven't bought one yet, I still don't feel like there's enough on either one to justify paying a scalper. Just wait till you can get one in store. There's 4 or 5 games on the PS5 that are exclusive to PS5 and not on PS4, and there's fucking like 1 or 2 on Xbox. There's not enough yet. They're coming. But between now and when the big next-gen games really start to drop and you can justify owning one of these things, you'll be able to find one at a store. Pardon me, at retail price, I promise you. So just, that would be the one thing. And I know that's easier said than done when you're someone that doesn't have one but has the money and you're waiting to get your hands on one and you're frustrated that you can't find one. But neither one to me has been worth paying a reseller for the extra for it yet. That's the point I'm trying to make. So just wait. You'll get one soon, I promise. I've bought 2 PlayStation 5s walking into Shoppers Drug Mart near my house and bought them. And I saw an Xbox Series S there the other day. So they're slowly getting more common. So just wait, don't pay. They're not worth it yet, all right? Unless you're rich. If you're fucking rich, whatever, then do it. I don't know. Who the fuck am I to tell you? I've never been rich. I don't know what it's like, but I assume you can just throw your money around however you want, all right? So thank you to everybody that wrote in this week. I really, really appreciate it. Let's change things up and let's get into our Smash Hits segment, the unofficial game show, the official unofficial game show of Remember the Game Industries. Play one, remake one, erase one. And a huge thank you to Classic Concentration from the NES for unknowingly providing us with the theme music for the show. The rules are simple. Every week I give our listeners 3 retro video games. You can play one as it was released, you can remake one into a modern game, and the third one never existed. It's erased from time forever. Thanos, finger snap, gone. As always, there are no wrong answers, but there is a right one. We'll get to that in just a minute. And this time around, because we're talking the Wii with Wii Sports, I kind of wanted to debut it with 3 Wii games for play, remake, and erase, but I didn't think anything could stack up against the Galaxy games, and I had a hard time trying to find 3 games on the same level on the Wii, and I ended up going with 3 games that all are kind of synonymous with the Wii: Wii Party, Wii Fit, and Wii Sport Resort. And this week it was a runaway over on the poll with 42% of the vote. Play Wii Party, remake Wii Sports Resort, and erase Wii Fit was the winner, which I actually found a little bit surprising because I thought Wii Fit was a little bit more popular than it was. A whole bunch of you poo-pooed on all 3 games, and while I wholeheartedly relate to your poo-poozing, that's not in the fucking rules. For example, Adam Stank wrote in and said, "Where's the 7th option entitled Fuck These Games, Erase All 3? And my answer to you, sir, is that it's right there on the ballot below your double secret fucking probation, you cheating piece of shit." A whole bunch of you wrote in. Just like, oh, all 3 of these suck. Fuck all 3 of them. No. That's not how this fucking works, all right? We've been playing this game for a long time, and I'm not even giving all of you crumb bums the light of day and a chance to get on here and flaunt your blatant disrespect of the rules that I've worked so hard to implement for this fucking game, all right? Without rules, we have chaos. And then the fucking Sega Saturnians rule the world, and then before you all know it, we're all fucking broke and selling in discount bins and dumpsters and shit like that everywhere, like those fucking bastards. So just respect my goddamn show and respect my goddamn rules. Jared wrote in with the last name who I'll never even be able to try to attempt to pronounce, and I refuse to butcher it that bad. So you're officially known as Jared B. Remake Wii Sports Resort for the Switch. Those were such fun party games to play, and they were great. I suck at this. Those were such fun games to play and great for a party. Play Wii Party. It's okay, but it's better than Wii Fit. Wii Fit is erased as we already have Ring Fit Adventure, and frankly, buying special gear to have to play a game is trash. Now, okay, To a limited extent, I disagree with the concept of erasing Wii Fit because we have Ring Fit Adventure, because Wii Fit was still, there were people that used Wii Fit, right? It worked. I get it. But I absolutely agree with your idea that buying special gear to play a game is trash, because you end up with just fucking, dude, you go to any flea market, goddamn, the pawn shop, whatever, you are going to see those Wii Fit balance boards fucking everywhere. And I absolutely agree with that. I hate having to have the big, clunky, I mean, the one the peripherals to play games, with the one maybe exception being Guitar Hero / Rock Band, having those plastic instruments. But even those, like, you go to a flea fight, you go to a garage sale, and I think it's like a 50-50 chance you're going to see a fucking Guitar Hero guitar sitting there at some point. So I don't necessarily agree with your order, Jared, but I respect the take, and I thank you for playing by the fucking rules. Brian Sherborne wrote in and said, erase Wii Party. We have better party games in the Mario Party series. Play Wii Fit. If you really have the need to exercise while gaming, it does the job. And then remake Wii Sports, because it was one of the main reasons people bought the Wii, and it could be amazing with the Switch hardware and portability. So, I agree with the idea that we have better party games in Mario Party, and I also agree that remaking Wii Sports could actually work quite well. That's just not the one. You only get to remake one. That's not the one that I would burn my remake on. But I'll give you a solid B+, Brian. I got no problem with your logic. Dusty Salad, which for the record is one of my favorite handles. Not to disrespect the rest of you. Adam's Stank is a pretty good fucking handle too. But something about Dusty Salad just makes me chuckle. I like that. Dusty wrote in and said, play Wii Fit. It is not a terrible game. The mini games were fun in short bursts. This game was mostly fun when trying to beat your family and friends' high scores. Remake Wii Sports Resort. I think a Wii Sports game on the Switch with more games would be a blast to play local multiplayer with friends. It would also be cool to play online in ranked and unranked modes. And then erase Wii Party. I've never even seen this game in anyone's house in real life. You know why I read you, Dusty? Because I like your handle, and I like the idea that, like, everyone else was writing in. So many people wrote in defending Wii Party, whether they wanted to play it or remake it. And you write in and you're like, I've never even seen this game anywhere in real life. And I don't know why that just made me chuckle, but it did. I kind of agree. I don't think I've ever known anyone that had Wii Party either, because we played Mario Party. So fuck yeah. A-, Dusty Salad. Well done. Sean Radford wrote in and said, erase Wii Fit. I was 25 when I played that game at a friend's house for the first time, and it told me I was 38. I hold a massive grudge against this game, and I've never even played another Wii game during this generation. Just erase this game and take your pick of the other two. This may put me on double secret probation, but it's so worth it. Fuck that game. Rest assured, Sean, you're on double secret probation because you're a cheating piece of shit. But the idea that you were 25, tried to play a game about fitness, and it told you that you were 38... makes me too happy to not read your comment on the show. And I'm 37, and if I tried to play Wii Fit right now, it'd probably be like, we think you're dead. Is there a dead guy? You're old, so I can relate, Sean. But you're still, nevertheless, while you made me laugh, you still cheated. You're still on double secret probation. Fuck off. Brian Spritzer wrote in and said, wow, just not much love for any of these titles, but I'd say play Wii Sports Resort because it's fun, especially if more people are there for the multiplayer. I could say the same for Wii Party. However, I'd rather say remake it instead. Perhaps a modern version would be more interesting, fun, and online could broaden the appeal. I don't know. Lastly, erase Wii Fit. I mean, come on, Ring Fit Adventure is actually a fairly decent workout game, and it even incorporates elements of an RPG. I always found Wii Fit to be dull and boring. And that's the thing, and you guys will hear my logic in a minute, because I don't disagree with the idea of erasing Wii Fit because we have Ring Fit Adventure. But I understand the concept, because Ring Fit Adventure is a blatantly superior version of a game in basically every light. And I've dude, there's a lot of really good reviews out there for Ring Fit Adventure. It sounds like a lot of fun. Whereas my understanding is that, Wii Fit, it's about as fun as most fucking Wii games. So I understand that. And then finally, before I tell you the right answer, Slick Rick, motherfucker, the most fucking historically brutal cheating piece of shit to ever happen to play one, remake one, erase one, wrote in and said, well, since we can remake two of them this week, I'd remake Wii Fit and remake Wii Party, and then I'd play Wii Sport Resort. If you don't belong on our if you're not a member of our Patreon, maybe you didn't see it. When I posted the poll options this week, I accidentally typed out play Wii Sports Resort, remake Wii Fit, remake Wii Party as one of the 6 options. Instead of play, remake, erase, I put play, remake, remake. And once you post a poll, you can't edit the options without deleting the poll, which makes sense because you could go in and change the poll results. And I understand all that. Even though, you know what? I pay Patreon a fucking fee for their service. I should be allowed to change the fucking poll results if I want to. Patreon, oh, fuck, I hate them. I'm so tempted to just take all the money I make from this podcast and fucking launch Blankreon or some new fucking Patreon where the website actually works. But anyway, the point being, Slick Rick sneaks by on a fucking... that is such a slick... That's something a guy with a handle like Slick Rick would fucking do. He's got the shady eyes and that greasy porn star mustache, and he's like, this guy fucked up, and I'm going to take advantage of it. So technically you're right. You could play remake and remake Slick Rick, but D- anyways, because your fucking history speaks for itself, you cheating bastard. Having said all that, you're all wrong. 11% of you had the right answer, which was my answer, as always. Whereas I would play Wii Sports Resort because, as you're about to hear, I don't hate Wii Sports. I hate the Wii, and I think Wii Sports Resort is very hit and miss. But the good is really fun. So I would play Wii Sports Resort because it's a better version of a game that, for the most part, I think is a pretty fun experience. So I'd play it. I would remake Wii Fit. I didn't use or own Wii Fit. I've never played it, but I know a few people that did, and at least in the short term, they were getting something out of it. Wii Fit was working, and people seem to really like Ring Fit Adventure on the Switch. So I would remake Wii Fit, get rid of the balance board, and just make a whole series of games like Ring Fit Adventure designed around helping you get into shape. Because I think that's a really, really good idea. And with the Joy-Cons and the way you could hold them and move them around and stuff like that, I think that a Wii Fit sequel on the Switch would work better than Wii Fit did. So I'm on board. I would remake Wii Fit. And then I'd erase Wii Party. And it's not that Wii Party sucks. It's just that I would rather play almost any other party game over it, including all the Mario parties and stuff like that. Plus your Smash Brothers, plus your Mario Karts, plus your board games, plus hide and seek, fucking whatever. I'm erasing Wii Party, and I don't have to defend myself. It's that fucking simple. As always, thank you to everyone that played. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I couldn't get to all the comments, but there's just too fucking many. What have I been playing over the last week? And then we'll get into Wii Sports. Not a goddamn thing, or very, very little. As you guys know, we kind of have some family here visiting right now, and I'm taking off on vacation right away, so trying to get an entire week of podcasts recorded before we go. Plus, I had comedy shows this past weekend, so I was trying to balance that as well. So I've played a little bit of Fallout New Vegas when time presents itself, but that's about it. So I know some weeks I can sit in this segment for 10 minutes. This was 10 seconds. I haven't been playing fucking anything. My thumbs are starting to get a little soft. The calluses are starting to fade, and I'm getting a little bit concerned, but I haven't been playing very much. There we go. There you go. You're caught up. Let's get into Wii Sports. As you know, I like to give a few of you a chance to share your thoughts on the game before my guest and I ramble for an hour or so. Brian Ransom wrote in on Patreon. Ooh, I just punched my microphone. That's good podcasting. Brian Ransom wrote in on Patreon and said, man, what a fun time with the family. Beside the aggravating controls, I have so many good memories with this game. Boxing and bowling were my favorite things to play. I loved throwing the bowling ball backwards into the crowd and making them jump. I would give this game a 7.5, maybe even an 8 out of 10. Dude, we bring up the idea of throwing your bowling ball back into the crowd and watching all the me's collectively like, and then I always thought that was like the fact that they put that in, I always just found to be the single greatest thing about Wii Sports. I didn't love the boxing as much as you're going to hear, but the bowling is chef's kiss. The bowling is playable today. It's fucking... I wish they would release it again on the Switch where you just take a Joy-Con and use it as the Wiimote and play bowling for like $5. I'd buy that because the bowling was awesome. Chalupa Cabra wrote in and said, Wii Sports. I'll never forget the hole my friend put in the wall from playing Wii Golf. These are great times. At Chalupa Cabra, at least it was your wall and not your TV. Because I guarantee you there are stories out the ass. We talk about that too, about how you got to wear your little wrist strap. You got to be cool and wear the wrist strap with your Wiimote because shit, there's some broken shit out there from Wii remotes. No fucking doubt about it. Stupid Monkey wrote in and said, Wii Tennis with yourself set to all 4 players makes for frantic flailing fun, especially while drinking. And I know that's not maybe it is how you mean it, Monkey, but I love the idea of just thinking of you just drunk off your ass alone, like 3 a.m, 4 Wiimotes spread between your fingers and just fuck? I don't know. I don't know why I find that so funny, but well played, stupid monkey. David Phillips said one of my friends was able to get a Wii early, and we had this and one other game that I don't remember, but this was the only thing we wanted to play and the only thing we did play. Bowling was the big game we played, followed by tennis. We had 4 controllers and used all 4 every time. It wasn't until Guitar Hero came out that we finally stopped playing this game every day. And yeah, as you're going to hear about on the podcast, I used to host a lot of poker games. And this was one of the big games we'd go to when you got eliminated in poker. You'd go over and pick up a Wiimote and start playing, like bowling in particular was the big one. Yeah, like, I'm trying to think. I didn't really play, other than Virtual Console, I didn't really play too much else on my Wii until Mario Galaxy, I don't think. I played Twilight Princess, but I didn't finish it. It was okay. It sucked because Wii Sports was such a great, like, demo for what the Wiimote could do, and then it just felt like they just were like, all right, well, that's as good as it's going to get with this fucking thing. Luca wrote in and said, when I first got a Wii, I was blown away by Wii Sports, especially tennis. It really seemed like I was controlling the players on the screen. But after a while, the illusion wore off, and I realized I could play while sitting almost completely motionless, and the tiniest wrist flicks were enough to cause a swing. The other games weren't that much better. I have to give credit to Nintendo for finding a way to make motion controls fun, but other than Wii Sports Resort, I struggle to find another time since then when they have worked really well. And we get into that as well, Luca. I don't disagree with you. And the thing with Wii Sports was great. I think Wii Sports is one of the most important video games ever, frankly, at least as far as Nintendo goes. And I feel like it's single-handedly responsible for the success of the Nintendo Wii. But the novelty started to disappear when you started to realize, like, oh, I don't actually have to act all that out. You can just kind of turn your wrist and it works. I agree that, yeah. And then it becomes like you have to kind of suspend belief, and if you really want to get into it and pretend that it still is working in full mode or whatever. Anyway. And then finally, Ninja Lunchbox 79 wrote in and said, Wii bowling. Some pretty good memories there. Also, did anyone else create Miis that look like celebrities or other famous people? I didn't, but I know a lot of people did. You used to be able to look up, like, create a Miis and see ways to create various celebrities and wrestlers and athletes and stuff. I created all my friends and made most of them look funny, and I made myself. I still have an avatar to this day that looks like me when I'm 90. It's just a wrinkly old man who looks angry, and dude, the best thing about playing Mario Kart 8 online is when you see people's Miis walk up on the planet under the racetracks while they're like lining up to start a game, and just seeing some of the stupid faces people make. Underrated creating Miis, underrated. But that's some thoughts. Obviously, a lot of people brought up the bowling. Everyone's got memories of Wii Sports, so let's talk about it right now. I'm going to cue up some music. And when it stops, my buddy Bradley and I are going to go back to the launch of the Nintendo Wii, and we're going to talk about the historic Wii Sports, which originally released in North America alongside the Nintendo Wii on November 19th, 2006. Enjoy the podcast, everybody. Let's go. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Everyone that listens to this podcast knows about our illustrious CEO, my dog Molly. But the other silent partner behind the scenes is my wife. And let me tell you, my friends, a 17-year relationship with another person that has to talk to and live with you is a lot harder to maintain than one with a dog. We've had our ups and downs, and as you all know, a relationship isn't all sunshine and rainbows. They can be a lot of work. You get out what you put in when it comes to relationships, and talking to a therapist can be a fantastic way to put in some work. They can help you work through your issues, learn to communicate better, and even just provide you with an ear to bend when you need it. I've talked to my therapist about my relationships, especially when it came to my stand-up comedy career and how much I was away from home, and they helped me work on ways to keep my relationship strong even when I was out on the road. It turned out our relationship was actually better when I was out on the road, but that's a story for another day. And I know, right? Therapy. Who has the time these days? BetterHelp hears you, and they're making it easy. Fill out a quick form online, and they'll match you up with a therapist that suits your needs and that'll work around your schedule. You pick the meet times, and you can get your therapy fix from anywhere, over video, phone, or just chat. Become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. Visit BetterHelp.com/rememberthegame today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rememberthegame. Okay, so first of all, Joining me via the blank phone this week is longtime guest, longtime friend of the show, potential Hall of Famer, my good buddy Bradley McHugh. So before we even get into the game or anything, Bradley, how is life? How are you?
Life is pretty decent. I spend like most of my time just like reading and playing video games, and I think that's all you can really ask for.
Damn right. That is all you can ask for. I agree with that. So that's good.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking Wii Sports today, and I don't know when this episode is going to go live. I would guess, give or take, around episode 160. For those of you that don't know the seedy underbelly of Remember the Game, I record the game chats in bunches, keep them saved on my little SD card here, and then just upload them one a week and do the intro and stuff that time. So we're recording this well before it's actually going to go live. But let's just say this hits around episode 160. That is over 3 years of Remember the Game episodes. And this is the first time that we have gone to the Nintendo Wii. Like, I'm going to have to build the Wii section at rememberthegamepodcast.com. And the thing is, Bradley, I'm not going to BS. Most people that listen to the show regularly know, like, I hate is a strong word, but I fucking really dislike the Nintendo Wii, by and large. It's my least favorite Nintendo console ever. I think it's
I think they fucked it up for sure.
I think it's an overrated turd of a system by and large. There's a few good games. Like, listen, Super Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2 are going to get episodes of this show someday because those are great games. But by and large,
Wario Land Shake It is also great.
Yeah, okay. Like, there's a few. All right, like that. There's a few. By and large, I think that system sucks. But I
actually agree. And like, you can argue Twilight Princess, but there's two better versions of Twilight Princess on GameCube and Wii U to play.
Exactly. So it's funny because you and I mean, a lot of my guests will message me and just throw out game ideas. And if I've played the game, I'm like, sure, I'll talk about any game. But then there's other games where I'm like, I haven't played that one, so we can't talk about it. And you messaged me completely out of the blue a few weeks ago, and you're like, yo, have you talked about Wii Sports? And you want to know the thing, Bradley, is as much as I don't like the Wii, everybody has played Wii Sports. It is, and I'm not saying that it's one of the greatest video games of all time. I'm not saying that, but I do think it is one of the most influential, one of the biggest video games of all time. I will go that far.
Isn't it top 5 highest selling games of all time?
You know what? Yeah, I was reading about it right before we started here. Selling over 82 million copies. It is the best selling single platform game of all time. And fourth best overall. And I know what the 3 in front of it are without even looking it up. And
it's Tetris, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Minecraft?
That's exactly, yes. So it's those 3 games, and then Wii Sports. And Wii Sports is on one system. So I don't like the Wii. Don't expect I know there's some Wii fans in our audience, and I'm not disrespecting you, but don't expect a ton of Wii games moving forward on this episode, on the show, because I don't fucking like the Wii. But I will say, Wii Sports, pretty fucking dope. And this was a great call by you, because when you suggested it, I was like, motherfucker, I never even thought to put Wii Sports on this game or on the show. And I was like, this is one of the rare games on our podcast that I feel like 95+% of our listeners have played Wii Sports.
Easy. I think everybody played it. Like, even if they played it once at a friend's house, or at a party or something, like, I think everybody tried it out at the very least. Maybe didn't go pro and get like really crazy good at it, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But like, I think everybody tried it out at least once.
Totally. And you know what's wild is like, this came out, like, this is like, Pack-in games, by and large, ended in like the 90s with like Sonic the Hedgehog on the Genesis, Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. Like, the Nintendo 64, I know you could get like special editions or special like later, but like the Nintendo 64 didn't just ship with a copy of Mario 64. PlayStation didn't ship with a copy of insert PlayStation game here. Like, by and large, they didn't. Whereas the Wii shipped with Wii Sports. And I know that that's a big part of the reason it's one of the best-selling games of all time, because it came with a Wii. So every time someone bought a Wii, they bought Wii Sports, and everybody owned a Wii. But like, I look at it and I'm like, what a phenomenal pack-in game. Because like, when I fired up my Super Nintendo and played Super Mario World for the first time, I was like my jaw hit the floor, and I was like, look at this! Like, this is Super Mario. Like, this is Super Mario on steroids. And when you fire up your Wii, and I remember this when I got my Wii, and you fire up Wii Sports, And you realize, like, I learned that after Wii Sports, I learned that I fucking hate motion controls and I never want them to come back. But playing Wii Sports, I was like, look at this. If I move the controller, my guy swings a bat or fucking whatever. And like, it was the perfect pack-in game. It was so cool.
You know what is so good about Wii Sports is there's two different points I'm going to make here, because Wii Sports was so good as a packing game for the Wii because it showed you two different things that the Wii could do. And one of them was obvious and one of them was subtle. The first thing it shows you is that it's motion controlled.
Of course.
You're playing bowling, you're playing tennis. That's the first thing it teaches you. It's like, perfect, this is how you play. This is how this is going to work on all of the games moving forward. This is how this console works. But it also showed you a second thing, and I think as a lot of people might not notice, but it showed you the power of the speaker on the Wii remote. Because every time you hit the ball, Kakunk on tennis, Kakunk comes right out of the Wii remote. Every time it's your turn to play bowling, ding comes out of your Wii remote. And that was not a thing at the time.
No, which is something that's so normal. Now it's funny because you're right. Because like nowadays, like I'll play MLB The Show on my Xbox Series X, and my controller will talk to me, and it'll be like, it'll be like the skipper in the dugout being like, "All right, come on, kid, see your pitch." Yeah. You know what I mean? And Molly won't sit with me, my dog, because if I'm playing my game and my controller starts talking, it freaks her out, and she's like, she didn't like it, she'll leave. So
she's
it's
like, who the hell is that?
Yeah.
Who is it? Who do you got here?
Yeah, what the fuck? Who's in there? So it's normal now, but you're right. That was revolutionary, and it like. Dude, I remember getting my hands on the Wii, and I'm sure everyone has a story about trying to get their hands on the Wii for the first time because it was the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X of fucking 2006. Like, Wii's were impossible.
Impossible to find.
Fucking impossible to find. But I remember bringing it home and setting it up and playing with Wii Sports and just being like, my God, is this this is incredible. Is this what every game is going to be like? And then it turns out they're like, no, 90% of games that you have to use motion controls kind of suck. Like, you're going to prefer to
fucking blow.
Yeah. Like, they're going to be a pain in the ass. But this was super cool. And to this day, dude, like, I guarantee you there are still fucking community centers and seniors' homes and everywhere where the Wii is still set up just so probably people can play the bowling, which I still think is the best game in this package. We'll talk about that. But
it actually is used. I think in Edmonton there was like a pilot project to use it in old folks' homes, and like they did like a bunch of studies on it, and it turns out like the positive reaction that they would get from the old folks like actually extended like their lifespan or some shit like that. Like, and I believe that study came out of Edmonton.
I'd believe that. It's fucking like, I used to go visit my grandma in her senior's home, and this was like, she's passed away a few years ago now, but we used to go to her senior's home to visit her, and they had the Wii, like for Wii, just bowling. That's the only thing everybody played was the bowling, but it was set up for Wii bowling, and you don't have to go to the bowling alley. You could sit here and play. And that's where I mean that, like, listen, you all know the raging hard on that I have for Super Mario World. Everybody knows that. I've
heard about it.
Yeah, right? It's like basically tattooed on my dick. It's Super Mario World, the greatest game ever.
We've all seen your dick, so.
Everyone has seen it. Yeah, you guys are all on my Instagram. But anyway, the OnlyFans, whatever. The point being, I think that this is a better pack-in game than Super Mario. This is the greatest pack-in game of all time, because if you would like, I remember when I got my Wii, I got Wii Sports with it, and then I bought Twilight Princess, and I don't hate the game Twilight Princess, but I didn't love playing it on my Wii. Like, I'd much rather play the GameCube version of it personally.
I've played both, and the GameCube version is far superior.
Right, because it's got a fucking controller, which is just like, that's what I want. But I remember playing Wii Sports, and I'm like, dude, if I had brought my Wii home and all I had with it was Twilight Princess, I might have just been like, dude, I fucking hate this. Like, this sucks. I don't want to play it like this. But it was Wii Sports was the game that showed me that, like, no, forget Twilight Princess and the weird waving of your hands. Like, this can be really dope. Like, I have zero doubt in my mind that it's a symbiotic relationship. The Wii would not have been as successful as it was without Wii Sports. And unless Wii Sports had been the pack-in game with it, nobody would have given a flying fuck about Wii Sports. Like those two things.
If you had to buy the Wii and then buy Wii Sports, nobody would have played it.
Nobody would have played it.
That's what happened with that 1-2 Switch game, which should have been a pack-in, but it wasn't. And then I bought it, and I was like, oh, this should have been a pack-in.
Agreed. 100% agreed. Sorry, I was trying to sneak in a drink of water when you were
You good?
choking on my own water here. It's okay. I thought I could get that drink down before you were done talking. Excuse me. Whew, good podcast in here. However, I remember the game industries. No, I agree with you. No, but like people would 1-2 Switch should have been packaging with the Switch, and a fraction of people would have played Wii Sports had it not been packaged in. But fortunately, it was packaged in. And dude, I remember the year or so after the Wii came out, and like I was really big into playing poker back then. I used to go to home games anywhere I could and hosted a lot of home games myself and all that kind of stuff. And it was like the Wii was always what was set up. And it was like whenever you weren't playing the game, you'd go over and play with the Wii and play Wii Sports. It was just such a phenomenon. And I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I'm not going to defend the Wii. I fucking hate that thing. To this day, Wii Sports is a lot of fun. A couple of them. I don't love all the games in this, but a couple of the games in Wii Sports to this day are still a lot of fun to play.
You know what? There's two. I would even say one that I don't like. But we'll get to them. Should we talk about the sports?
Yeah, let's get into that because it's funny you say that because I have 3 that I don't like.
There's 3 you don't like?
Yeah.
Oh man, I would say there's one that I don't like, and if you like the one that I don't like, I'm gonna be real sad.
I'd be floored. So what's the one that you dislike the most?
I hate boxing.
Okay, yeah, I don't like the boxing either.
I think the boxing is like it doesn't feel like there's strategy to it. I know that there is. And maybe I'm just bad at it, but like the Wii motion control isn't good enough for what they're going for, I find, with the boxing.
Yeah. Like, you know what? It's funny you say that, man, because like Punch-Out got kind of reinvented on the Wii and they re-released the Punch-Out on the Wii. And it wasn't terrible. It was fine. I didn't like it as much as I like the original 2 Punch-Outs, but it was okay. But playing boxing on because I would say that it's my least favorite of the 5 games on Wii Sports is boxing as well. And the thing is like, it could have been a lot of fun. Like the Wiimote and the nunchuck are your 2 hands and stuff like that. But I agree with you. I do think there's a very, very minimal level of strategy to it, but it very quickly just disintegrates into fucking swinging your 2 hands as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And it really sucks because like it's a great idea. And the first time you play it and you hold your 2 hands up like your 2 boxing gloves with your 2 and you're like, this is fucking sweet. But then you realize that like the motion isn't 1 for 1. Like if I throw, the punches I'm throwing aren't precisely the punches that he's throwing. And that's where it kind of starts to, I don't want to say expose itself, but I do feel like all 4 of the other games are far more
intuitive.
Yeah, like far more precise as far as the motion you make compared to the kind of just waggling of your hands that comes with the boxing. I don't love the boxing at all.
Absolutely. I find that if I just kind of flail around in boxing, I'm much more successful than if I actually like try to implement some kind of strategy.
Yeah, which is like, and I bet you that happens.
That's bad.
Sure. And I bet you that happens to a lot of people. They played it once or twice and then they were like, well, there are 4 games on here that play better and are vastly like more fun than the fucking boxing. So, which is too bad because I won't lie to you. At its core, when I got this at home and looked at the case and saw that it was baseball, bowling, boxing, golf, and tennis, boxing after bowling was probably the one that I was the most excited for because I'm a boxing fan and I love playing video boxing. And I thought like this could be the next level. And then it turned out to just, it really just, it felt, it's not insulting. It feels a little half-baked compared to the other 4 games on the disc.
It is, the whole thing is very base versions, and there is better versions of all these sports, with the exception of, I would say, bowling.
Sure.
But you know what's interesting, though, is that I was playing this a couple of weeks ago, and that's when I asked you if you wanted to do it. And then I played it again last night, admittedly a little bit tipsy. And so I played it for like an hour last night, a little bit tipsy.
Did you use your strap? Did you use your Wiimote strap?
No, I don't have them anymore, and I was very nervous.
Bradley.
I was because I threw them out because I was like, I'm a grown up. I'll never.
Me too. I was like, I'm not a pussy. I don't wear a helmet when I ride my bike. I don't need to wear a strap on my Wiimote. And now I do wear a helmet on my bike. And if I had a Wii, I would absolutely wear the strap. But okay, I just wanted to break your balls because I did the same thing. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I took them out. I threw them out. I threw out the straps, and so I was like, ooh. this is going to be a really tough sell. And so I played it last night, and then I played it. I wanted to get like a sober take on it. So I played it again this morning. I played one round of each on both occasions. And I think that if you had asked me a week ago, what's the best game on Wii Sports, what do you say?
Oh, are you asking me right now?
Yeah, I'm asking you. What do you say is the best game on here?
Oh, bowling.
Bowling. Okay, so that's what I would have said a week ago. But I did find that this time around there is one I had way more fun with bowling, and that is tennis. I think tennis is so fucking fun. It is so fun because the computers are actually kind of good at it, so it makes it actually kind of challenging.
Right. Yeah, tennis is probably my tennis would probably be my second favorite game on the disc. Like, remember I said that there were 3 that I thought were bad? I shouldn't have said that. I would say there's 2 I think are bad. 1 is okay. And then 2 that I would put at the top tier. And the 2 at the top tier are bowling and tennis. Dude, to me, you're right. When you're playing against the computer, tennis is the funnest one to play. No question.
Yes, 100%.
Because it actually, so sorry, one last thought on boxing. I really wish that, like, of the 5 games on Wii Sports, boxing is the one that I kind of wish that they had, like, left out and then released it as its own standalone game later. Because, like, it, with a lot more love and tender care and, like, a little bit more work and cleaning it up and buffing it and stuff, I think boxing could have been a standalone title where you fight against like other opponents. You know what I mean? Like, that's the one that disappoints me the most because I thought that one had the most potential. And then I thought it kind of sucked. But tennis.
Go ahead. What's fascinating though is that we were talking earlier about how, like, if this game had been released on its own, it wouldn't have done as well.
Yeah.
But that actually did happen. They released a sequel to this game that is far superior than nobody played.
Right. Is that Sports Resort?
Wii Sports Resort is amazing. And you have your staples. You have golf, but, like, it's got, like, a tropical theme.
Right.
You have tennis which is also a tropical theme, but then you also have, like, ping pong and, like, sword fighting. And I think there's a flying one where you're in an airplane. Like, it's awesome. Like, the Wii Sports Resort is really, really awesome. And so I'm always disappointed to hear that people never played that one because most people didn't. They played the first one.
Right. Well, to me, the problem with Wii Sports Resort was, like, I'll be honest with you, by the time Wii Sports Resort came out, I had pretty well, outside of basically the Mario games, like the 2 Mario Galaxies, new Super Mario Brothers. I don't hate Mario Kart Wii. It is one of my least favorite Mario Karts, but it's still Mario Kart.
It's okay.
But other than, like, a select few, and then the Virtual Console, which, like, I could do an entire episode of this about Virtual Console because that was my favorite thing about the Wii. But, like, I had by and large moved on from the Wii to my Xbox 360 at that point. And so, yeah, like, no chance was I playing Wii Sports Resort. And you're right. And so there's proof that it wouldn't have sold. So,
you know what? Totally fair. Totally fair.
But to get back to the tennis, I agree with you because, like, I'm a big fan of video game tennis as well. If anyone that listened to our episode, we're recording this on July 12th. And so we're hot on the heels of the Zelda 2 episode of Remember the Game, where on Play 1, Remake 1, Erase 1, I went with 3 Mario GameCube sports games, and a vast majority of you erased Mario Power Tennis, and I completely melted down in the intro and lost my temper on everyone. I stand by that, because Mario Power Tennis is a great game. I think that tennis as a whole translates incredibly well into video games when it's done properly, and I'm not going to sit here, Bradley, and pretend that fucking Wii Sports Tennis is the most deep, complex simulation-y tennis ever played, but it is surprisingly fun. It feels very fluid when you swing your Wiimote. Like you said, that fucking, like, that noise of you hitting the ball is oddly satisfying. It's a lot of fun to play against somebody. I wish it worked a little better. Like, I wish there was more drop shots, lob shots, like angles. You know, I just wanted more precise play, but it's surprisingly fun to pick up and play with someone or against the computer. It's good. It's fun.
Okay, so I need more context here for a moment, because admittedly I'm not paying as much attention as I used to. But you said that a lot of people erased Mario Power Tennis. What were the other options?
Mario Golf Toadstool Tour and Mario Strikers, the soccer game, and all 3 are spectacular. I love all 3. I don't know,
man. I might also, like, I love Mario Power Tennis, but it might be the worst of the 3.
Stop. Doesn't matter. We're talking Wii Sports. Shut the fuck. Don't get them going again. All you motherfuckers.
Okay, what do you erase?
I erased Mario Golf Toadstool Tour only because Mario Golf on the 3DS for me is just as good.
Shame on you.
No, it's
Shame
just as
on
good.
you.
Whereas so I played Mario Tennis because I think Mario Power Tennis is immaculate.
You remake Strikers. You remake
Strikers because God, that series has to come back. And then I don't want to erase Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. I love that game, but I have the 3DS one. I don't have a 3DS Mario Tennis that's that good. So I was all right, you know what? That's my logic.
Fair. The Wii U Mario Tennis kind of blew chunks.
It sure did.
Yeah.
So that was my logic. But
right, I get you.
But the point I was making is just that by and large, I really like tennis video games. And Wii Sports Tennis obviously is not the deepest, most simulation tennis ever, but I agree with you when you bring it up. It's actually really fun. I think it's really nice to look at too. I think it's the best looking of the 5 games. And
I disagree. I disagree with that, but we'll hit that when I talk about the one I think looks the best.
And it's fun to play. And like you said, it's of the 5, bowling is fun because you can play by yourself and you just go for a high score and it works perfectly. But to play Mario Tennis against the computer, you're not going to lose hours and hours and days and months of your life to it, but it's good. It's a fun Mario Tennis game.
I did a good 10 rounds, 10 5-set rounds.
Did you win?
Last 24 hours. Yeah, I won every round, but some of it was pretty close.
Right. No, it's good. I agree with you, man. I like the tennis in this game. This was the one that I actually, when I first got my Wii, I was living with my mom and dad still, and I played it with my mom. I remember my mom and I we would play tennis against. It was just so much fun, like that sound. Especially because of these 5 sports, it's probably the one I'm worst at in real life. And so it's the one that I had the most fun playing on the Wii. It's good. I think tennis is good.
I'm not much of a sports guy, but I do play tennis. Oh. I do like to play tennis.
My girlfriend plays tennis, and we've tried, and I just listen, I don't think it's a secret. Everyone knows that I'm blind in one eye. I don't have very good depth perception. Tennis is not for me. Tennis is not for me. I'm not.
It sounds like it might not. I think it might be just inherently not made for you.
No, and I suck, which I wouldn't be good even if I could see. So
I decimate my girlfriend at tennis.
Ugh, fucking
decimate. So that's tennis. Tennis is probably the most fun in my opinion, although I do also like bowling, which we'll get to in a minute. That's tennis. Now let's talk baseball.
So now, because I said that there were 2 that I put in the top class, which are tennis and bowling. I think baseball is that middle. I like the baseball on this game.
I think it's okay.
I have one.
I find that it's really hard to hit the ball, but maybe I suck. Okay,
now I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you suck, but we used to play baseball a lot at my poker games. This was the one that our 2 of us would play a game of all the time. And one person pitches and one person hits. And the problem is that, and I haven't played this game in a long time, but when you're pitching, you can throw a fastball, or if you hold, I think it's B and pitch, you'll throw a slider or a curveball or something. And if I'm not, at least from what I remember, a fastball, you just need to get the timing down of swinging your bat and you'll hit it. The other pitch, you have to lay off it for a ball, if I'm not mistaken, and you can't hit it. And it's so hard to tell which one is which. And that was where I had a problem. I think it would have been more fun if it had just been a home run derby, where they're just fastballs and you just hit the ball. Because when you swing and connect, dude, I love it. We used to just fucking try to hit as hard. Oh, that's where it's at. Hitting dingers is where this game fucking shines.
Well, and I love hitting it out of the ballpark. But yesterday I played a 3-inning, and I admittedly don't know very much about baseball. I did a 3-inning game, and after the first inning, the game did what's called the mercy rule, because I was kicking the shit out of the computer so bad that they're like, we don't even have to play the next 2 rounds. We all have a pretty good idea how this is going to go.
Right.
Cause I think I had 6 home runs and the computer had 0 after the first inning. And they were like, nah, cut it there.
I love it.
He could come back, but he won't.
Yeah. I didn't play it against the computer ever. It would just be fun to play against my friends. Against the computer, I thought it sucked. The one criticism I have of the baseball in this game more than anything was, you don't run the bases at all. It does all that. And
yeah,
I I guess I don't even know if it's necessarily fair like I criticized the boxing that it wasn't deep enough, and I wish there'd been more complicated shots in tennis. I wish you ran the bit. Like none of these are meant to be simulation games. They're all meant to be. It's basically a glorified tech demo for what the Wiimote can do.
correct.
But I wanted to run the bases because like my favorite moment of playing Wii Sports is hitting baseballs. Like if any, like bowling's my favorite game in the package, but hitting like swinging the bat and hitting dingers is my favorite thing to do in the game. I love the way
It's your favorite moment, just the connection.
Yeah, but I'm a huge baseball fan too. So I like my only, like I say, so to me, bowling and tennis are the top tier, and then baseball. Like my issue with the baseball was I wanted more, and I feel like they could have put more in it. I wish there'd been more, especially the pitching, because basically all you do is whop your arm forward, and then it's either a fastball or if you hold the button, it's a different pitch, and that was it. And I wish that I don't need it to be super simulation-y, but like if like maybe the speed you swung your arm, change the speed of the ball, or like something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Also, this one was the easiest one to, and we learned this lesson the hard way. This was the easiest one to lose control of your Wiimote.
Yes. Oh, yes. Like sometimes you'd look at the screen and your guy is like holding his baseball bat. Like if it was a clock, he'd be holding it at 2:00 in the afternoon. And you're like, no, I need you to hold it behind you.
Yeah.
Sir, cause like as well, they can pitch it semi under and semi over.
Right.
And if they do that, you're fucked. Your entire strategy is out the window. Cause it's like, I don't know how to make, like I can actually hold my Wiimote that way, but it's not going to do it. It was the way I think it is.
It was so funny because like I don't remember exactly how it worked, but like there was a way that it kind of like defaulted, like where your controller was. Because yeah, like sometimes like you'd have to kind of reset where your controller thought it was because like you'd be holding your Joy-Con like down between your knees, pointed up toward your ass, so that your batter had the bat over his shoulder, ready to have a swing. And you're like, what the fuck? This isn't like, why do I have to do this? This isn't where it's supposed to be. And it would sometimes get a little bit wonky. Our big problem was just fucking, especially my buddy Mike, that fucking idiot. He would swing that fucking controller like he was like in the majors, and he lost grip of it a couple of times. And I was like, dude, if that hits my fucking TV, I'm going to lose my shit. Especially because at this time, I had one of those giant 400-pound fucking old school big screen HD TVs. And I was like, dude, that thing cost me like a month's salary at this time. And I was like, if you let go of that remote and it hits it, I'm going to fucking kill you. But it was so, like all the other sports, you don't have to, you're not swinging as hard as you could swing when you were playing baseball. But because
at tennis, like you can sit down and play tennis.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude. Well, my buddy Dave, I know he's listening to this. When we would play the bowling, he wouldn't get up. And he'd be like, "This is stupid," and he would just sit on the couch and like wave his hand, and he would beat us, and we thought it was so fucking funny. But
yeah, well, and like I personally like every time I play this game, I'll start standing up, and I'll be like, "All right, I'm gonna stand up this whole time." But by the time like I get through tennis and I get through baseball, by the time we get to bowling, the standing up thing, I've completely abandoned it.
Right. But you know what? I think that I feel like that sums up the Wii perfectly.
That's the experience, yeah.
When you first pick up the Wiimote, remember when you're like navigating the menu even, and it's like all wobbly? It's like a laser pen, but on the screen, and you're like, this is insane. And then the novelty, it feels like by the minute, the novelty of the Wiimote wore off. And
what I hate so much is that with the Wii, there's games that support GameCube controller, but the Wii menu doesn't.
Yes.
Fuck off. You could use a classic controller to like use to navigate the Wii menu, but not.
It's funny you say that because like
not the GameCube controller.
I would say by and large, I primarily used my Wii as a GameCube and for the Virtual Console. Like I much preferred those to playing Wii games. And I had so obviously I had my GameCube controllers, and then I also bought the I can't remember what it was called. Was it called the Classic controller? It was like a
yeah.
You know what I'm
Super
talking
Nintendo
about?
Controller.
Yeah, that funky controller for the Wii that plugged into the bottom of the Wiimote. I love that controller, and like those were all I used. But I constantly had to fucking use my goddamn Wiimote and go get batteries for the fucking Wiimote just so that I could fire up my goddamn Wii and pick the game that I wanted to play that didn't need the Wiimote.
Well, I have a real question here for a second. Can you use, because it's the same jack, can you use the Super Nintendo controller, like the Super Nintendo Classic controller, as a classic controller? Could I play Smash Brothers with a Super Nintendo controller?
You know what? That's I have no idea. I'm gonna look that.
I'm gonna test it this afternoon. I'll let you know.
Because I never even thought of that. Because like you're right, it is that's such a weird plug, that kind of rectangle with the chunk out of the top, and that is kind of like controller with Wii. I'm curious about that now. I want to know with Wii.
Oh, we're finding out right now.
I want to know. And we'll go back to Wii Sports. Do the SNES Classic controllers work on the Wii or Wii U? Yes, I've tried this on the Wii U Virtual Console and various Wii console games, and it works. That's what Reddit says, and Reddit never lies.
Holy shit.
That's interesting.
Dude, I'm gonna do an entire run of Smash Brothers Brawl Subspace Emissary with the Super Nintendo controller now.
That's wild. I did not know that was a fucking I never even thought of that until you said it. Dude, I never even thought of that.
That
weird
sounds like
fucking port.
That sounds like so much fun to me, because that's how easy I am to please. It's like you can play Smash Brothers with a Super Nintendo controller, and it's like, wow.
Well, sign me up. For what it's worth, like the Reddit article is saying that they try to with virtual console games. So I don't know if it'll work with everything, but I have to imagine it would.
We'll give it a shot.
Yeah. Okay. So boxing, we both agree sucks. Tennis, we both think is good. Baseball, I think is good. You think is there.
It exists. I'm fine with it.
So the other game that I put right near the same tier as boxing that I just don't like is the golf. I don't. Okay. I hate it.
I like it.
Ugh.
I like it. Now I love to golf. I don't as often as I'd like to, but I do like to golf. But that being said, as much as I like it, there's better versions of this.
That's the thing, because like I don't golf. I mean, I golf in real life occasionally. I'm fucking horrible. If you're wondering why I'm so bad, go back and listen to the tennis segment, and that applies to golf too. But I fucking it's my favorite video game sport. Like I love video game golf, from Mario Golf to Tiger Woods to Hot Shots Golf to like I love video game golf. And so
Outlaw golf, baby.
Pardon me.
I said outlaw golf, baby.
You know, I haven't played that one. Someone was telling me about that the other day. That sounds so much fun.
It's pretty silly.
I love video game golf. And so when I got my hands on Wii Sports, golf was one of the ones where I was like, oh, fucking A. And I think of these 5 games, there's at least an argument that in theory, golf would translate best to the Wiimote. Because it's that one fluid motion, you know, and if you turn the Wiimote, then you could slice your ball. And I wanted to like the golf, but we played it like 3 times. And I was like, and again, I don't mean to harp on it, because you can't go into this expecting simulation levels of reality in your games, of realism. But like, it just felt very, very, very basic. Too basic, frankly, for me. Just too basic for me.
I'm going to agree with you 10 million% with that. I actually do like the Wii Golf, but there's like the thing where it's like, this is how hard you have to hit your ball. And I find that no matter how hard I hit it, I always hit it too hard.
Yeah. It's funny. I feel like aside from the bowl, because like, and we'll get to the bowling in a minute, because like, I bet you if you polled 1 million people what the best game on Wii Sports is, bowling would get 90% of the votes. I'd be willing to bet you. So we'll get to the bowling in a minute. But of boxing, tennis, baseball, and golf, I really feel like all 4 of these games could have had more time put into them and got released as like even if you left these glorified demos on the Wii Sports disc, but then released literally you could just like Wii Golf, and it was just like a much more in-depth version of that. Wii Tennis, Wii Baseball, Wii Boxing, and they all could have been super fun. Golfing with that Wiimote, in my opinion, should be the best gaming the sports experience with that controller.
They still don't have that figured out, because the new Mario Golf just came out, and I love it so much, but the motion controls still suck.
Yeah, I'm like, we could
way
have
better to play with a controller.
Yeah, we could have because I don't like the new Mario Golf, but we could have a whole separate discussion about that. Point being, the motion controls should work, and I don't want to use motion controls in 9/10 of my video games. Golf, I think motion controls would be so much fun, and I'm floored that they still haven't figured out how to make that work.
Well,
Floored.
you know what? The Tiger Woods golf that you can play with the I think it was on PS3. You could play with the Move controllers was pretty good.
Was it? I know. I've never.
I mean, no, maybe that was when Tiger Woods was fucking all those ladies. So it was Rory McIlroy, I think,
McIlroy.
or maybe it was just called Masters Championship or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah,
I played that, and it's pretty intuitive.
Oh, because I won't lie to you. Like outside of like Golden Tee, I don't know if I've only ever played golf with like the controller, like the way I want to play it. But I will say that, yeah, like I don't know anything about game development, but I feel like golf is maybe the biggest missed opportunity because it sure seems like all you got to do is either your Joy-Con or in this, like we're talking Wii Sports with that. It should be as simple as swing your Wiimote. The harder you swing your Wiimote, the harder you hit the ball. And if you turn your Wiimote, then you slice the ball. Like, and that's all it should have been.
Did this fucking guy just reference Golden Tee
I love
on
Golden
this
Tee.
podcast?
I love
God
Golden
bless.
Tee.
God bless. You know what? Me too, but I don't think about it very often.
Well, I don't know if I've ever played. I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but I was like, I don't think I've ever played Golden Tee sober in my life. Maybe
No,
it really
yeah, it's always
sucks,
that, like,
but I've only ever been drunk off my ass before I've started playing it. That's all.
They had Golden Tee at the dentist office that I went to growing up, so I used to play it at the dentist office.
Jesus Christ. We had a fucking Sega Genesis with Echo the Dolphin. So you fucking, fuck you. That sucks.
Yeah, that sounds like what I got was awesome. There was also a Miss Pac-Man machine, which was dope.
Oh, God. I've always assumed the reason my dentist office as a kid had Echo the Dolphin in the Genesis was because they were like, by the time these kids are done playing this game, they won't complain about the needles we're going to shove in their mouths because it'll be more fun than the fucking game we made them play in the waiting room.
Stab me up. It's literally, it hurts way less.
Just get me away from Echo the Dolphin. Anyway, fuck it, I digress. You all know my opinions on Echo the Dolphin.
Yeah.
So
I do think that this version of golf is too primitive. And I like it technically.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's far too primitive for what it's trying to do.
And the thing is even if you like it, like you could play it twice and then be like, all right, I'm done. Like there's like there's nothing there. It frankly of the 5 games, even more than boxing, maybe not boxing, certainly compared to baseball, tennis, and bowling, it's just too basic for me. There's nothing there. It's too half-assed.
Well, and I think I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's 9 holes in total, and it's like you can play through that in 20 minutes.
Ugh, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
No,
there might be 18, but I'm pretty sure there's 9. I could be wrong.
So
that's golf.
So now
and that brings us on to the feature presentation.
So before we get into bowling, then I'm just curious. Like for me, from worst to best, it goes boxing, golf, baseball, tennis, bowling. Worst to best.
Yours and I's are going to be close, but there's going to be a couple of swaps. For me, it's boxing is the worst one, then baseball, golf, bowling, and then tennis is my favorite.
You'd put tennis ahead of the bowling, eh?
You know what? I think shit's close, dude. I think it's pretty close.
That's fair. So we'll talk about the bowling.
This is. Thank you, listeners, for waiting this long.
Yeah.
That you want to hear.
We'll do bowling on next week's episode, everybody. Thank you for listening. No, I couldn't. No, fuck that. Because the thing is like this is one of those games where like when you suggested it, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll talk some Wii Sports. But then I did get thinking to myself, much like I did with Duck Hunt, like I did with Tetris. I'm like, is there an episode here? Like this is, but I mean, we managed to make it almost 40 minutes without getting to bowling. And this is like, I am an avid bowler. I love bowling in real life. I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the podcast, but I bowled in leagues for most of my childhood. The Canadian 5-pin bowling with the little ball, but I like 10-pin bowling too with the big ball. I'm a surprisingly good bowler. I really am.
You know what? Me too, man.
Yeah, it's good. It's
all
a fun
the same thing. I got a trophy one year because when I was a kid, I was in a league and I played a 294 game.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking good. I was like 10.
For those of you listening outside of wherever you don't have the little ball 5-pin bowling, a perfect game in that bowling is 450.
For wussies.
Yeah, because I know that some of you that do the big ball 10-pin bowling are like, a perfect game is 300. He bowled a 294. That would be like a 210, 220 in 10-pin bowling. Still very good, but it's not like he was 6 pins off a perfect game or something. But no, that's fucking.
I wasn't that close to a perfect game, but like I did pretty damn well.
But that's great, and that's the thing about it is like of the 5 games, not only so I think bowling is it's the most fun. I think it's the one that you can play by yourself or with up to 4 people, and it works perfectly. And the thing about it is like I truly feel of the 5 games, it's the one that reads the controller best because it can tell when you kind of, shift to the left or shift to the right and that kind of stuff. At least like not photorealistically, but I feel like it's the one that reacts the most to the way you swing the Wiimote while you play it.
I would agree the controls here are the best. With tennis, it's like it's pretty simple, but sometimes you'll do a backhand and then it'll do a front hand and you're like, no.
Yeah.
No, not quite. And now my fucking ball's out, you assholes.
And I because like when we used to play it all the time in my basement, and like other than my buddy Dave, everybody else, like we would actually get up and like you wouldn't take the 1, 2, 3 steps. I didn't live in a mansion. We didn't have that much fucking room. But you'd like stand up and like take a half step forward and throw your hand like you're throwing the ball. And you actually had to if I'm not mistaken, didn't you have to like let go of the button to let go of the ball? Because if you let go of it in your backswing, you do that funny thing where you dropped it and all the Mii's would jump and look at you like an asshole because you threw your ball backwards.
It'd be like, you almost hit Steve, man.
Yeah, I love
that. Doing?
I fucking love that they put that in too. That you can throw the ball backwards.
They make you feel bad for a second. They're like, idiot, come on.
Yeah, make you look like a donkey to all the other Mii's. I fucking love it. But like it worked so well standing up. And then my buddy Dave was like, nah, fuck this. But he would sit down and play and it would still read just as well. And we used to make fun of Dave, be like, dude, get up, you fucking dink, get up. But it's so perfect because like I said, I guarantee you there are Wii's in seniors' homes where this is all they play and they don't have to stand up. They can just sit in their chairs or wherever old people sit. I don't know where they sit, but they're sitting wherever they sit.
Probably.
Yeah, probably chairs. I mean, I'm not judging. And they just swing their hands and play bowling on it. And like the thing is it like baseball, there's no base running, and that fucking sucks. And boxing, I don't think there's any strategy at all. Golf, there's minimal strategy. Tennis has some strategy to it, but bowling, it is literally a full game of bowling. 10 frames. Everything is real. Like they didn't remove anything. Obviously, it makes you a little bit better bowler than you probably are in real life, most people. But like you play a full game. Like they didn't have to remove any of the game to make it work, which is maybe why I think it works as well as it does.
I totally agree. I think that like as much as I love the tennis, I also love the bowling. Like it's so much fun. And there's like special modes that you can play, like 100 pin bowling and
dude, that like so I like just the regular I loved just playing bowling against my friends. Like you get 3 or 4 people together and you just have a night of bowling. I know a comedian that to this day has like a Wii bowling league. And he has people to his house and they play Wii bowling and they keep track of their scores and their standings and their averages and all that stuff. And I think I don't want to play, but I'm like, that's pretty cool. I like that idea a lot. But like, I personally like the fucking, the modes where you go from like 10 pins to fucking 15 pins or whatever it is, and it keeps growing and growing, and then by the end there's literally like 100 some pins at the end of the aisle, and you just whip this little ball down this huge aisle and see how many knock down, and the physics are surprisingly accurate. Like it's so fun throwing a ball into a giant, that's something you could never do in real life. That is just so much fun. I love that mode. I'm so glad you brought that up. I kind of forgot about that.
I was thrilled. I was messing around with that yesterday. But you know what just occurred to me just now? Nintendo could and totally should just re-release this game exactly as is, but with online.
Yeah, that's where I was. Yeah, like I wanted to kind of get into that as we kind of started bringing this down. I mean, admittedly, the only one that I'm really, because like you could argue that, I mean, again, Mario Golf doesn't work with motion controls, but it exists. There is a tennis game. Like, I guess you could argue that these have all been done better, but I agree with you, dude. If they really, like, you couldn't, I mean, Nintendo fucking could charge full price for this because they're fucking Nintendo, but realistically, I wouldn't charge full price for this. But if you charge, like, if you release this as like a $20 eShop game, or if Nintendo was feeling extra spunky, it was included with your Nintendo Online membership. Like, it would be so perfect to play online with your friends. So perfect.
That's so it, because they need to do something with this online service or else it's going to die.
Oh, it's fucking, it's abysmal. Now, the one issue, I guess, I mean, maybe one of the things preventing them from re-releasing this on the Switch is the fact that Switch Lites don't have detachable Joy-Cons. So
Yeah,
those
yeah, but like Super Mario Party exists also,
agreed,
and that game also can't be played on the Switch Lite.
agreed. Yeah. So like it would
I mean,
work.
I don't think that they should have any game that doesn't work on all models of the Switch, but I mean, they've done it already.
The horse is out of the barn already when it comes to that. And to be
And
fair, you can
they could add like some like controller support.
well, like my buddy has Mario Party on his Switch Lite, and they can still play it with a separate set of Joy Cons that they bought. It's just they can't put it on the TV, so they have to look at it on the little Switch Lite and play it on there.
That sucks.
I know it's fucking. This is what we were talking about, where Nintendo could be such a fucking difficult company to love sometimes because they do such weird things. But I'll be honest with you, man. Just based on the success of this game, I'm frankly a little shocked that they haven't re-released it. I'm a little surprised. I don't know how well it would sell. I don't know if Nintendo cares about that though. I
think that they could do a full price if they bundled it, like they had Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort.
Or if they just added it to a set of Joy-Cons for like an extra $10. Like design a set of Joy-Cons that look like Wiimotes, like that white color scheme, and then throw Wii Sports in with it, tack on another $10. It would sell. They'd make millions of dollars.
Make the light on the side blue instead of green. That's it. That's how you do it.
And actually, I fucking hate the Wiimote, but that'd be pretty dope. Like Wiimote, I would rather have like SNES themed Joy-Cons personally, but Wiimote themed Joy-Cons is a cool idea. Like to re-release this with online, because that's like obviously the Wii didn't have online, and that's whatever. That's a no, I didn't really. It kind of did.
It did eventually, but not right off the hop.
I think that the Switch is probably still using the same online server that the fucking Wii used, which would explain why its goddamn online is so bad.
I used to play Smash online, and I used to play Call of Duty online, admittedly. And I never really had a big problem with the Wii's online. I mean, Smash, sometimes it took a long time to get like a match going.
Right.
But I think that's mostly just the fact that wasn't a very popular iteration of that game. Now you can get a match in 5 seconds.
Of course, yeah. But I think if you the Switch's online stacked up against the other two is shit.
I'm sure that if I played Wii online now, I'd be like, well, this fucking
this is fucking horrible.
This is horrific.
But yeah, I agree with you. I wanted to kind of start wrapping it up on that thought. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. The only one of these games I really have a hankering to ever play again is the bowling. It'd be fun to have a couple of hacks at some baseballs, but other than that, bowling is the only one that intrigues me. But like, I'm floored that they haven't done anything with it.
I found a way to cheat on bowling, and it's why I'm so good at it. But if you sort of like right before you let go of the ball, you just like flick your wrist real quick, it'll always go straight forward. And so I fucked around with that. And so now I'm pretty good at the bowling, and I can get like usually like 6-7 strikes. It doesn't work every time, but almost.
Yeah, dude, this is such a, like when you look at that list of best-selling games of all time, I don't mean to discredit Wii Sports, because I said it off the top, and I will die on this hill. I think it's the greatest pack-in title of all time. But
one of these things is not like the other.
It's certainly not Minecraft, Tetris, or GTA 5. Like, it's not even in the same discussion. Like, it's literally, like I said, it's basically a glorified tech demo. Whereas those other three games are three of the greatest video games that are ever made. Having said that, I'm a little shocked that this game is really just kind of forgotten in gaming history and left behind to just kind of rot as this weird
which is
demo.
Too bad.
It is too bad. It is too bad. I mean, it was also like, I know the Wii was the invention of Mii's, but this was also the debut of the Mii. And that's something else that actually I meant to bring up. Dude, you remember creating yourself as a Mii for the first time? That was actually pretty dope.
Oh, I actually created a Mii just yesterday that looks like me, and it's like, wow, this probably looks quite a bit different than the Mii I would have created when I first got this thing in 2006.
Yeah, I remember like I created a bunch of my friends on it so that when they come over to play, like they'd already all be in, and they'd all like, it was funny to like see yourself as this weird little shitty looking floaty head egg cartoon character. And like, I'll be honest with you, dude, like I outside of dressing them up in Smash Brothers, which I think is a great way to bring characters into Smash that aren't ever going to get into Smash, Proto Man and Geno. By and large, I find Mii's kind of annoying now and stupid looking. But at this time, when this came out, this was a pretty cool thing. Like
they were
neat.
a perfect mascot for this game.
Yeah, they sure were. Yeah, they were.
And then like I think for like a lot of the similar games like Wii Fit, which I also really like, it was so nice to have like when we were growing up, we played Wii Fit, and this is totally true. We made on our Wii like a bunch of Miis. We made like lots of Miis and made them look like, like our friends and our family, but then we also had like a few like historical figures, like, the classic Adolf Hitler,
Of course.
as you do.
Yeah, of course.
The classic Adolf Hitler. But when you're playing Wii Fit and you're doing like the jogging, you're just on Woohoo Island. So when you're jogging, you can see other Miis that are on your console just sort of like running past you. So every now and again, you'd be like, "Good morning, Hitler," and he'd be like, "Good morning,"
Yeah, the Mii's just kind of became an institution for better and worse around
Good morning,
Nintendo.
Hank Hill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course. But this is where they debuted, and I that'll always be kind of neat. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that Wii Sports is as important of game to Nintendo as Super Mario Brothers is. But the thing, because of course it isn't. But the thing is, you got to remember, every console from the NES to the SNES to the Nintendo 64 to the GameCube, their sales numbers dropped. Every one of those 4 systems, it went down progressively. And then the Wii turned out to be the best-selling Nintendo console of all time, not counting handhelds. And then the Wii U.
Is it not the best? Is it not still the best-selling home console of all time?
A couple of the PlayStations are ahead of it.
Oh, okay.
All 4 of them might be. I know at least 3 of them are, but it's the best-selling non-PlayStation home console of all time, and Nintendo's best. The Switch, which I will argue that the Switch is a home console, and the Switch is going to pass it, which is fucking awesome because the Switch is better in every way. But
Switch is too good, and it looks like they're not willing to give up on the Switch. They're like, no, we're just gonna keep making this fucking thing.
Yeah, but the thing is like I wonder though, like if all 4 of the systems before it sales numbers had dropped. Had Wii not worked, which you could argue maybe it wouldn't have without Wii Sports, had the Wii not worked, like what would Nintendo have done? Because like that, they made a lot of fucking money off this thing that basically helped them survive the Wii U. Like I wonder if the 3DS would have been their future and they would just be a handheld company today without Wii Sports.
Yeah, well, I mean, they kind of are.
They kind of are. You're right.
Now, but more importantly, I almost think that they would have gone the way of Sega, where they were like, okay, you know what, we still want to make games, but we don't need to make home consoles while Sony and Xbox are doing it.
And I've wondered that as well. And so I have no love for the Wii, but Wii Sports is a critical title to the. It saved Nintendo's ass, quite frankly.
Thank fuck that didn't happen though, because if we lived in a world without the Switch, like, because I'm selling a lot of my video game collection right now, and I'm not even touching my Switch stuff. Yeah, because the Switch is such a fucking good console. I will sell games that I own on PS4 just to rebuy them on the Switch.
Yeah, I love my fucking Switch.
I did that with Witcher. I did that with Doom. I did that with lots of games. Ys 8, Bayonetta, both 1 and 2. I will sell it on other consoles just to play it on Switch.
Yeah, the Switch to me is like 1A, 1B with the SNES for me. And like we did a ranking episode one day, talked about my favorite systems ever, and I think by the time it's said and done, the Switch will pass the SNES because most of my favorite SNES games are now on the Switch to go with everything else. So
it's like what the Switch or the Super Nintendo had Super Mario World, and it's like, motherfucker, look.
Yeah, now I can play Super Mario World on the toilet, and that's where games are meant to be enjoyed.
And you can play it with your friends while you're on the toilet.
So exactly. Yeah, thank God there's no voice chat. Fuck. This thing is sold over 82 million copies. So we'll score it out of 82. That seems like a good number. Because I don't want to score it out of 5, because that's too basic. 5 sports. So Bradley, on a scale of 1 to 82, having literally just played having just played Wii Sports, both sober and intoxicated in the last 48 hours, what would you score Wii Sports out of 82?
Okay, I'm gonna give it 2 ratings. Sober, it's a solid 65. Intoxicated, solid 75.
Yeah, I believe that. I totally believe that. Dude, we should start doing that from now on when we score games, drunk and sober. But I will say though, like most games, I prefer to be sober. It's just that this is one of those ones where the play is so light and chill and easy that it's like I'd probably rather be drunk or baked.
I was nervous that I was gonna launch my Wii remote into my TV last night, though. Yeah. To be fair,
Wear your Wii strings, kids. You're not too cool to wear your Wii strings.
Yeah, absolutely. Wear protection.
Yeah, I'd probably get in around like the 60 out of 82. Bowling is dope. Tennis is okay. Hitting dingers is fine. I can live without all the rest of it after that. But I just, as a Nintendo fan, as a lifelong Nintendo fan, I can't deny this game's importance to that company. And I don't want to think about where Nintendo might be today if Wii Sports hadn't come out with the Wii. I don't want to think about that because that'd be a scary thought. So
me neither. This game is fun. This game is pretty fun.
It is fun. I can't believe we did a Wii game. 160 episodes. This might be episode 160. I'm trying to think. We're at 158, 9. This might be episode 100. We're going to be around there. I can't believe it was over 3 years till we talked about a Wii game. And you could argue this is the only Wii game worth talking about. I am only saying that to piss off a few of our loyal listeners that are Wii fans.
Well, to be fair, Mario Galaxy is on the Switch.
Yeah, fuck. All right, well, okay, we'll talk, dude, Mario Galaxy.
What about Metroid Other M?
No, shut up. No, Mario Galaxy is going to get an episode of the show down the road, and I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but there's only been 2 games in the history of this podcast that have picked up perfect 10s outside of Super Mario World, and there's a chance Galaxy becomes the third. It's a chance. Yeah. It's a great game.
Here's the thing, is that the Wii sucks, I do agree, but it's almost worth it. It's almost worth it.
Just for the Galaxy games?
Just for the Galaxy games.
Yeah.
But I'll let you reserve your thoughts on that.
We'll do that on another episode. Dude, thank you for doing this. And I got to be honest with you, Bradley. I never even thought to cover this game. So tip of my backwards cap to you for coming up with a great suggestion, buddy. Well done.
Thank you. I was playing it a few weeks ago and I was like, man, this would be good.
This is great. I think this is going to be a fun episode. I hope people don't hate this episode.
I had to do 2 hours of research. That was it. Yeah. Perfect.
And you 100%ed the game in fucking 2 hours. You could 100% this fucking game.
No, because you can go pro in each of the individual sports. Yeah. I didn't do that.
Fuck.
I've only ever gone pro in bowling.
It's the only one with enough fucking depth to go pro in. Yeah. Dude, thanks for doing this, man. That was fun.
No problem, man.
And that's going to do it for this week's episode. Bradley, thank you so much for giving me a call and talking Wii Sports. And thanks for the suggestion. That was a good fucking suggestion, man. We have finally dipped our toe into the Wii pool, and we started it with, there's nowhere to go but down now. Other than if we talk about Mario Galaxy, which I promise you guys at some point we're going to do an episode about Mario Galaxy. And not to spoil anything, but it may be one of those elusive games that gets more than a 10 or at least gets a 10 out of 10 because that game is just, fuck, I love Mario Galaxy. But that's for another day. Thanks you for everyone that listened to this week where we talked about Wii Sports. I hope you all had fun with that. One of those games we all played. I hope we triggered a few memories. And if you have a Wii laying around and you want to fire it up, play a couple rounds of bowling, get in there. Other than that, there's probably no real reason to fire up your Wii, but you can do that at least if you want. If you guys are enjoying it, if you enjoy the podcast, I shouldn't even say if you enjoy the podcast, if you don't hate the podcast, consider supporting us on Patreon. It is only $2 a month. It helps me out more than you could possibly imagine. You get dozens and dozens and dozens of extra podcasts, plus Discord access, the ability to DM with me, the ability to submit your comments to be read on all the shows, including playing Play One, Remake One, Erase One, and a whole bunch more. Patreon.com/remember the game, about the best bargain in the history of humanity. I also have a P.O. box. You can find the address at rememberthegamepodcast.com. I don't ask for giant gifts. Just shoot me a postcard or a letter, something little. Let me know where you're listening. I have Remember the Game postcards here. I'll sign one and send it back. We'll become best friends. I feel like it's prison and I need like pen pals. Well, I mean, that's kind of what it is. But anyway, send me a postcard. I'll send you one back and we'll be friends. And I'm on Twitch. I may not be on there this week because I'm away on holidays, but I am traditionally on Twitch at least once or twice a week. Look for Remember the Game over at twitch.tv, not Remember the Game. It's completely free. Just throw me a follow. It'll tell you when I'm online. And then I usually spend as much time arguing with the hot dogs as I actually do playing the games, and it's lots of fun. And I think we have merch. Find it at rememberthegamepodcast.com. Great way to support the show, support me, and support a very talented artist, Joe, over at 4545 Creative. He's the man, and I think our merch looks fucking dope, and I hope that you check it out. That'll do it for this week's episode, you guys. There's a whole bunch of podcasts coming down the pipe this week, including Expansion Pass number 70 on Sunday, exclusive to our Patreons, where we'll talk about what we would change if we were in charge at Nintendo. And of course, I'll be back in 7 days with episode 160 of Remember the Game, which may or may not, and I mean that literally because I'm hoping we can get the episode recorded before Wednesday, but it may or may not be about an underwater city and psychic powers that you get from something called Adam, and there's Big Daddies, and you know exactly what game I'm talking about. But that'll potentially be next week. This is now. Thanks for listening. You guys are the best. I'll talk to y'all again soon. Cheers. Remember the Game is brought to you by our Patreons. We could not have grown the podcast like we have without all of your support, so I would like to take a moment to thank everyone that has supported us at patreon.com/rememberthegame. So a huge thank you to Dave, Makeshift Money, Joe Buck, Ben Drinkin, Sharonic, Andre, Stupid Monkey, Freezer Burnt, Tyler, Michael Mathis, Fake McHugh, Joshua Shenfield, Jeffrey Mathis, Shaylee, Keegs and his stupid arrow handle, Jin and Chris, James Clark, Sean Razine, Dave McGee, DNA Gaming, Joe Gillespie, Nathan Warzika, Ashley Cronenbitter, Ben Bulliu, Slick Rick, Evan Refuse, Doug Dorn, Chris Fleury, Josh Morgan, Scott V, Rex Sheldon, Andrew Wright, Gary C, Divalk, Luca, Kate Roberts, They Call Me Badger, Joe Mack, Desert Tortoise, Jordan, Dylan, Do Howe, Kevin Hufford, Jason Cortez, The Good Enough Gamer, Fraser Burns, Brian McKay, Alex Martinez, April Sane, Nick Sills, Vlad Steen, Kyle Paul, Mark 209, Lil Bunny Fufu 89, Matt Brown, Ben Busha, Adam Anderson, Aaron Cuphall, Dan T, Dave Thompson, No One Cares, Mackenzie Wheeler, Brandon O'Brien, Chris Campbell, Chuck Schlarp, Wyman Brooks, Yamcha, Scott Brooks, Leon K, Jeff Johnson from Game on GNT, Adam Oshirello, Dario Omen, Stitch, Aaron Lawson, Miklos Blackshaw, The T-Word, Michael Haig, Mr. Nick, Miles from BringBackRetro.com, White Burrow, Chris Knife 007, Nathan Tremblay, Mark Jones, A-Town, Andre S.J. Flash, Brian Medeiros, Tom Kite, Danny Vega, David Ray, Geek Life Radio, Morgan, Ryan Yeager, John Quack, Zane Donovan, Adam J, S2S, Jay Bear, Arpad Bodos, Ryan Kinchin, Tommy Reynolds, Mike Maloney, Christopher Russell, Ryan Bayshore, Retro Ghosty Ghost, X Water, Vincent L, Very Cool Dude, Jay Clutch, Starl Probin, Tim Riel, The Giraffe, Jared, PB McFadden, G9PSX, Tim L, Dominic S. Thompson, Martin Greenwood, David Schnatterer, Wolverine Films, Peebs, Silver Grunion, Mr. Satan, Raging Demon, Poops Loomis, 8-Bit Bubby, Pat Duddy, MPG in Buffalo, James Anderson, Amy Gillen, Dana Wucherall, That One Kid Nick, Potato Bob Guy, Mad Shibs, Mercury 869, Derek Jane, Rodrigo Tomazzi, Kelly, Jesse Clark, Pie Messiah, Sean Clifford, The Honest Pokemon Trader, Bracken Newcomb, Zoo Troy, M. Felf, A Novel Console, Kfabe 5150, Example Text, AJ Jones, AJ Freeman, JB Retromania, Freddie Martinez, Ferdy Martinez. I made it that far without screwing one up. Ferdy Martinez, Brian Robbins, Troy Zuniak, Brendan Hine, Boognish, Wolfgang Darren, Ninja Lunchbox 79, Mr. Meeseeks 0406, Derpamus Prime, Seriously Ron P, Sam Wright, Retro Bismol, Andy Hudson, John Byrne 86, Joshua Davis, Stephen Fukasawa, Thor the Hammered, Kinslayer, Rogue Agent, Jafar, McJr., Mega Man 2 OG, Good A, Goth C, Dane, Aaron Baker, Lord Finish, K-Jam, Electronic Emotions Program, Chris Copland, Spencer C. Weiss, Murat Pepper, Cody Poland, JMC, Logan Hale, Doogie, Matt McLean, Pizza Power, Super Nintendo Dudes, Nathan Freak, Mike Burks, Trevor Sevenoaks, Ryan McCowan, Kerry Wakawawa, Fob, Paul Zoe, Wolf Magic K21, Johnny CCDC, Joel LeBlond, Raul Aguilar, I worked at Subway, David Phillips, Corey Street, Gary Heather, Squints, John DeShazo, Tent Sparkster, Omega 88, Swedish Fish, Nathaniel Shelley, Explode Processing, Captain Cool, Tim Shambo, Joseph Gonzalez, Lee Spilling, Dan Wagner, Daniel McKee, Candido, K-Cuz, Guest House Productions, Bones02, S2 Von 5000, Titan 420, Jose E. Marco, Seth Mayfield, Tom Calvert, Chris Freeman, Kyle Bolton, Scarlett, Zonko 504, Lee Sparks, A Sharp J, Oprah's Iron Fist, Tom Maya, Adam Ferrer, L. Sock, Russell Aldridge, Chris Dory, Classic Crusade, Big G, Shannon Willis, Scott Roseberry, Karth from KOTOR, Sean Radford, Chance McCoy, Hammond Egger, Ronnie Sachs, Paul, Jeff Bergeron, Ian Watts, Dale Baker, Joe Kirby, Captain Ends Mega Man, Owen the Game, Furchuck, Super Dave, Plucky Beast, Matthew Day, Harmonies David, Game Nomad Messi, Tristan, Jerry Robinson, Emily Luna, Kenneth Michael Brown, Leigh Evans, Daniel Stidham, Nerdy Retro Gamer 86, Paul Holder, Darth Obvious, Master Boyd, Leon Nabskog, Trapper Keeper 1000, Daniel, Astro Alpaca, Rob Strothman, Ryan Groinus, Kaiser Dragon, PP Poo Poo Cuckoo Pants, Kyle Dodd, Jared Bushlin, Benjamin Johnson, Stu Bergeric. I suck at this. Eden Awaits 1981, Tunable Power, Borrow, The Gray Bearded One, Dan Taylor, Swanee, Hayes 87, Lukey Mull, Danny Proudfoot, Tom Danks, John Woodruff, Angel Cortez, Dusty Salad, Chris Meisner, Randy Barrage, Neo Nevis, Andy Spilling, Brian Spreitzer, Michael Clark, Inhuman Sumo, Chalupa Cabra, Thomas Simmons, Sean Byrne, Rocker Dude, Saskatchewan River Pirate, What Great Gaming, Mikey NL83, I Am the Mutt, Juga, Sony Kid Magazine, Brian Sherborne, Joseph Ciampetti, Adam Fisher. Oh my God, that's a lot of names, and I probably fucked up half of them. But thank you very much for the support, everybody. I really appreciate it. I'll record another one of these at the beginning of August, and I'm sure I'll screw up a bunch of your names again. But thank you guys. You're the best. Love you. Cheers.